Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video, and today we're going to continue looking at creating a custom data entry form. So this is the second video. In the first video we looked at creating a really basic data entry form, and in this one we're going to look at adding a drop-down list and populating that drop-down list. This video was recorded in May 2021 using Excel 365. Just as a pointer, if you haven't watched the first video, it might be sensible to do so. I'll put a link in the description, but there's a lot of kind of basic introductory knowledge to VBA in the first video that might help with this one. Okay, so in the first video we created this. If I click on this shape here, we've assigned a macro to that shape that fires our form, and it allows us to put in information: this name, this last name, this job. We click that and it adds this information to this list here. Very basic, but it's just a starter. So what we're going to look at now is we're going to start looking at drop down options. So to begin with, let us go to our Visual Basic. If I double click on my user form here, we can see the user form and the controls, and if I click on one of the buttons, it'll take us to the Visual Basic, to the code behind it. So let me go back to the user form. What I want to do is I want to add a new control to this user form, which is a combo box, a drop-down list. So if I click on the actual form itself, not a control. If I click on a control, we get these little handles around it. If I click on the form itself, we get these little handles here that allow us to resize it. So if I drag this form down here, I've now got some space to insert this little control here, a combo box. And for this example, we're going to populate the combo box with years. And what I think we should do is we'll put in a series of years, 3 years prior to the current year and 2 years in the future. Before we start adding our code, we need to rename our control. So remember, everything on this, everything is a control. The form is a control. All of the bits and pieces on the form is a control. So we're going to rename this control. It's a combo box, so we're going to prefix it with CMB, and we'll call it years. Now, what I want to do is I want this combo box to populate when the form gets displayed. So in order to do that, we need to capture the event that Excel uses to display the form, and that is the activate event. So first of all, I'm going to double click on the form itself. What that does is it takes you to the code behind, but also it gives you a procedure here based on the action that you've just done. And I double click the form, so I've got this user form click procedure here, and any code I put within this procedure will fire when the form is clicked. That's not what I want, obviously, but what it does allow me to do is at the top here I've got user form selected in this drop down. All of the controls are in this drop down here. So I've selected user form, or rather it was already selected because of the action I just took. Now on the right hand side I can select an event, and what I want to do is I want to select the activate event, and now we've got this new procedure here called user form activate. I'm going to delete this here because I don't want that. Now let's start building the code that will populate our drop down with the years. First of all, let's declare some variables. So we're going to declare a variable called int year, and it's going to be an integer. Also for this example, we're going to use a for loop, and when you're using a for loop you need a looping variable. So in this case I'm going to declare a variable called int loop, and it is also an integer. Next we're going to populate our year variable, so we're going to say int year. Now remember, as you're typing, if you do control and space at any point, if I just go back, Excel will offer you options based on what you've currently typed in. So if I now start typing int year, there's my variable I want to select. if I just go back, I just press escape now, where I was before, if I do int year, int y, and press control and space, it will say, oh, there is only one object that I've got that begins with inty. It must be int year, is that what you mean? And it is. So I'll say int year equals, and now I need to use the year function, the Excel year function. And what year does is it gets the year part of a particular date, and the date in question is now. So in Excel, now is the current date and time. Year is the function that extracts the year element of a date. So this will populate my variable with 2021. And then we say for int loop equals int year minus 3 to int year plus 2. And then next int loop. And then within here we say CMB year, I'll do control and space, dot add item, and then in brackets int loop. So let me show you this in action, then I'll go through what it's doing. So if I click on that, click on drop down, there's the years. Let's exit that. Let's go back into VBA. So declare the variables. That now equals 2015 because of this here. What the for loop is doing, it's saying, okay, you assign this variable. We're going to loop through using this variable here, and this variable is going to be assigned values from 2021 minus 3 to 2021 plus 2. So it's going to say loop round from numbers 2018 to 2023. And this is going to be that value throughout each loop. So the first iteration, this is going to be 2023, which is this element here. Then it adds 2023 to my drop-down box, to my combo list. Then it goes to the bottom here and loops back up the top. Then it gets to 2019, adds 2019 here, then it goes back up, 2020. And what this is doing is it's giving the range. So it's saying 2018 to 2023, that's what this variable is going to be looping through. And it's just going to go it's going to iterate one at a time, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, up to 2023. And then when it's finished, it drops off the bottom. Now, what would be handy? Well, there's a couple of things actually, because whenever this displays, that combo box gets repopulated. So let me look at this drop down now. 2018 now appears twice. And if I exit and open it up again, oh, it's appeared an awful lot of times. So let us then think about that. Let's go back to our Visual Basic, and let's see the first step that it does before the loop is it says combo box years dot clear. Now when we come back to here and then we run this, there's our 6 elements, and we exit and we run it again. So it clears it down and then it rebuilds it again. So that's perfect. The last thing I want to do in here is I want to actually give it a default. So what I want to say here is I want it to say I want it to automatically be populated with the current year. So we can say CMB years dot text equals int year. So let's try that. That should work. There you go. And you can change the selection if you wish. If we exit and open it again, it's populated with int year. And we can do that. We can do that with any kind of date part. So let's just go back and do it for months. Just as a quick example, let me just pop in here and create another variable. Another combo box. We're going to call it CMB month. And if I just double click on this control, so here we'll say, okay, let's declare some more variables. Usually I would declare them all at the top, but just month, as integer. I don't need to declare another looping variable because I've already got one, so that should be fine. But I can say int month equals month. Now I can say CMB month dot clear, and I can say for int loop equals 1 to 31. Let's say just for ease, next int loop, and then we say cmb month dot add item int loop, oops, and then at the end we can say cmb month dot text equals int month. So let's see if that's worked. I typed that pretty quick, but let's see if it's worked. There you go. A couple of quick examples. I'll create a separate video in the future to kind of make them a little bit slicker, and maybe instead of having numbered months, oh, in fact that should have been day, not month. But either way, they're just examples of how to populate a combo box. Now, what I actually want to do is I want my combo box to show this information here, because in the future video, what I'm going to use this combo box for is you select one of these so you can amend it. So let us try and create a combo box that we can use that populates itself with this list here. So let me go to here. Let's go back to here. I don't want these two anymore, so we're going to get rid of those. But what we're going to do is we're going to just pull. I want to use. So should pull this down here, a little bit down here, and let us create a combo box at the top. And this combo box is going to be called CMB names. So if we go back to our code, we still want to use this activate element here, and what we want to do is we want to use this same logic that we've used up here. So if I just nick that logic from up here, and instead of it saying next blank, I want to say last value, and then we're going to say this last value. So if you remember, what this does is it goes to sheet 1, it goes all the way down to the very bottom row, and then it goes up to the last row that has a value, which in this case is row 9, and it will return that row number. So in this case, this will return the number 9 because that is the last row that has got a text value. In the example above, we added 1 because we wanted the next blank line, but in this one we just want to know the last line that has got a value. So that's exactly what we need. Then we can say so then we've got a combo box names, and then instead of add item we say list, and then we say the list is equals range, and the range is going to be what we're going to do. What we want to do is we want to say populate it with all of that range there. So the range is A2 to A, and then the result of our variable dot value. So let's have a look at that. If I close this, we open this up, and we look at this drop down. We've now got that there. Now let us then think about I don't know. So let's just add a new name, John Smith. Oops. And if we add John Smith, he's no longer in here. This is kind of a static list. So let's go back to our VBA. Instead of having this here, firing when the form, well, hold on, let me try and get my words out. What I want is I want this combo box to rebuild itself when you click add. So we've got an add action here, the command add click. So I want this to fire when the form loads, but also when something's added. So let us create our own procedure. We'll call it, so we give it private sub, and we'll call it refresh names. Oop. It shouldn't have taken us there. Let's go back. So in refresh names, we're going to copy, or cut rather, and paste our logic. And now what we can do within here is, instead of pasting that logic again, we just call refresh names. And also here we can also call refresh names. Oops. And because this is now something that exists, because I've created a procedure called refresh names, you can call that simply by putting it down, simply by typing it. And what happens now is, in this example, when I click to add the data, it's going to add the first name into column A, add the second name into B, and add the job into C. Then it's going to call this. So it's going to now jump into here, and it's going to run through these 3 lines here, and then it's going to finish. And when the user form activates, when it displays, it's going to call this, and it's going to go through here. So what that should mean is, when I click on here, there is our list of names, but also when I add a new person, in the drop down, we've got a new person. That's the end of this video. I'll be producing, creating another video shortly to continue with this. But that's the end of this video for now. I hope you find it helpful, and see you next time.